Rachel Nichols, joined in studio by two NBA champions, co-host of the All the Smoke podcast, Matt Barnes, 2008 Finals MVP, Mr. Paul Pierce. Welcome, gentlemen. Coming up, we're going to let you know the biggest games from the biggest stars and the old faces making their debuts in new places. But first, let's recap how we got here. We're only 18 days away from the start of this unprecedented season. In just the last 17 days, we've had a draft, an entire free agency period, and started training camp. Just this week, two former franchise point guards were traded for each other in Russ and John Wall, while their teams were already in camp. This is all part of a sprint during this pandemic to have a workable, if shortened, NBA season. Now, this schedule release show will include just games from now until the All-Star break in early March. Have you ever seen a major American sports league only put half a schedule out before? Yeah, me neither. But the league wants to maintain flexibility in case of COVID-related delays and postponements. The goal is a 72-game season that ends May 17th, then a play-in tournament, and a playoffs that can end in July. Now, in order to cut down travel, there are significantly more back-to-backs between teams, home and homes, or just home and home and home and homes. Here's an example. In January alone, the Sixers will play consecutive games against the same opponent at the same location 4 times. So hosting the Hornets, then the Heat, the Celtics, then going over to Detroit to play 2 games in 3 days there. So yeah, we are 18 days away, an unprecedented season in an unprecedented time. And before we get to more of the marquee games, Matt, as a player, how do you change how you prepare for a season that is going to look like this?
I think it's just different for each player. Obviously, Bron has had about 2 months off, so I think he'll slowly but surely start revving his engine, even starting in training camp. I don't see him participating fully in training camp in the first. Obviously, he'll probably play their Christmas game, but kind of pace himself, understanding it's a marathon. But some guys like Trae Young says he hasn't played in 9 months.
Right.
You know, some of these younger guys are excited to get back out there. At the end of the day, I think they understand how special this is. If 2020 has taught us anything, it's not to take anything for granted. So no matter what the circumstances are, back-to-back games. I remember the lockout season, Paul, we first came back. We played, 3 games in 4 nights?
Yeah.
It was crazy. So these guys are excited to get back out and play, but I expect the superstars to ease their way into the season.
What about you, Paul?
These athletes, NBA players are the most adaptable athletes in the world. I mean, since I've come into the league, like Matt said, we've had 3 lockouts. Right. You know, we had 50-game seasons. We started on Christmas. We had a bubble. I mean, we just coming off a season that said this was unprecedented. Now we're coming to another season.
Right.
The league, the players, they're ready for anything. Right. It's about just being ready mentally. We already know they're going to be in physical shape. I mean, they're going to do something they haven't done before. They're going to play in their arenas without fans.
Yeah.
They're going to play back-to-back against the same teams in the same arena. So there's nothing these NBA players can't do. I mean, I don't put nothing past them. They'll make the adjustment.
Because at the end of the day, they're just still playing basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, considering what's going on in the world, these guys are getting to play basketball, so they'll be ready.
Well, I know you guys are all creature of habit, though. You have your game day routines, but those have been disrupted already for any team that participated in the bubble. So people are kind of used to throwing it all up in the air, just like the rest of us are with all of our lives, right? We all had our routines, and those went out the window. All right, as was released earlier this week, here is the opening week national TV slate. Now, on opening night, we have December 22nd on TNT. KD finally making his official Nets debut and gets to face his former team, the Warriors. Would have been a little more juicy with Clay there, but boy, it's still a really good matchup. Followed by ring night in LA as the Clippers face the champion Lakers.
Hey, ring night, of course they bring the Clippers.
Of course they do.
I'm not sure if I'll come out of the locker room when
We're going to collect that and we're going to make you watch. On December 23rd, Giannis and the Bucks facing the Celtics on TNT. Then CP3 making his debut for the Suns against Luka and the Mavs on ESPN. I can't wait for that one. On Christmas Day, starting at noon on ESPN, Pelicans Heat. Then on ABC at 2:30, we'll have Warriors Bucks, Nets Celtics, and Kyrie's return to Boston. Mavericks Lakers at 8, Luka LeBron. And finally at 10:30, Clippers Nuggets in a Western Conference Semis rematch. Now, Paul, I know you are a huge believer in Luka's star potential. Is he ready to be opposite LeBron for the Christmas primetime game?
I mean, I would have put KD in that spot. You know, I mean, he's a young up-and-coming star, and he's must-see TV. I mean, but he's not there yet, not opposite of LeBron. You know, you got to say either Giannis or KD, someone of that stature. But, you know, the kid is must-watch TV, and he's puts up hell of a stats. And he did get a triple-double the last time he played against Bron.
Those games have been good.
I mean, so I don't mind it at all. It's probably the truth.
I love it. I mean, it's there. Luka's next in line. I think he's in line still. I say within the next 3 to 4 years, it'll be Luka's league. And I'm saying within that 3 to 4 years, he still might take an MVP. But I think, there's still some guys ahead of him, like Paul said, but he's definitely must-watch TV. What he did in the bubble, what he's done since he's touched this game has been so special. So I'm excited to see him go against Bron on the big game on Christmas Day.
And that leap he made from year 1 to year 2 was so unusual, right? And then what he's going to do from there, we can only wait and watch. Now, one of the other marquee days in the first half of the schedule is, of course, Martin Luther King Day, featuring 5 nationally televised games. The first 2 are going to be on NBA TV, and the last 3 on TNT, concluding with Bucks Nets and Warriors Lakers. Now, ABC is going to have 7 games starting January 30th through the All-Star break, including 5 Saturday primetime games. This is a good schedule. Lakers Celtics, Warriors Mavs, KD back in Golden State, Heat Lakers finals rematch, Clippers Bucks, and I mean, there's so many good matchups here. Paul, what do you want to see most from these marquee showcase matchups?
I want to see KD versus Giannis. Because, look, in many people's eyes, we know LeBron just showed everybody he's still the best in the league. Giannis is a 2-time MVP, but still might not even be the best in the Eastern Conference.
Talk to him.
With KD coming back. So I'm intrigued to see, that matchup right there. And then KD being off so long, look, saying, I'm back, y'all. I know he's been the MVP the last 2 times, but I'm still in the league. And my name is Kevin Durant.
Right. I think people quickly forget because he hasn't played in so long who he was and what he was about. He was running with my homeboy Rico Hines runs at El Camino College this past offseason, and everybody was impressed. So I think he's going to be the common theme throughout the first 2 months or maybe in the whole season, just because he's bouncing back off an Achilles. But everyone that I've talked to and has seen him play says he looks like KD. So I'm excited for it. They're my excited. If they stay healthy and can gel, they're coming out the East for me.
I mean, by the way, also playing with Kyrie Irving.
Early too, right?
Right?
I mean,
don't forget, there's games you turn on the TV and Kyrie.
That's Matrodamus.
Right?
They got a nice.
I need a graphic for that.
Matrodamus.
Predictions.
Calling it early.
Yes,
he's got the whole thing going. No, I mean, you could be, turn on your TV for Kevin Durant and get the Kyrie Irving show, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there are nights where nobody handles the ball like that.
That's what makes them scary. And you got to think the rest of their core, too. They still got a good, solid, young core, too. Re-signing Joe Harris, having Karis LeVert and DeAndre Jordan and Dinwiddie. I mean, and then, the Steve Nash experiment. And those guys respect him. And I'm interested to see what kind of mind he brings to that kind of team. So the Nets, if they can stay healthy and get that chemistry, they're going to be scary this year.
Now, Paul, I don't know when you guys first got to the Nets. Maybe it was the last time everyone put the Nets all over the national TV schedule, Christmas Day, ABC games. Maybe after you're there for a little less so. But now the Nets are back, ladies and gentlemen.
They're definitely back.
We will see what happens. All right, coming up in the show, after a transaction frenzy the last 2 weeks, where will Russell Westbrook, John Wall, Gordon Hayward, and others start their new journeys? We will discuss. But first, a distant replay from this date in 2009. Shout out and respect, Black Mamba.
Rest in peace.